what mechanisms, if any, can regional or international actors provide to ensure Israeli compliance, especially that the Israeli proposal offers no such guarantees?
Of course, Hani, when we deal with any conflict or any political event or any event of geopolitical dimensions of any sort, we have to always assess the balance of power. And in accordance with this balance of power, we have to adjust our negotiating positions, basically, whether as mediators or as parties to this conflict. And when it comes to Hamas, their demands are legitimate. They are in line with international law. They are in line with basic ethics and morals, meaning that it's only logical that a sustained and permanent cessation of hostilities should be the way moving forward when it comes to any agreement. It's inconceivable to reach any settlement without its final outcome being a permanent cessation of hostilities. While all of that is good and great, however, there is certain realities on the ground that we need to basically interact with and deal with. And one of those is that Israel, unfortunately, as things stand, has the upper hand. The only card Hamas has to pressure the Israelis is the card of the detainees, and it has proven to be largely ineffective with the right-wing government of Benjamin Netanyahu, who seems unfazed and undeterred by the idea of the detainees being killed. If anything, many of those detainees were brutally murdered by the indiscriminate bombardment of the Israeli military over the past year and a half. So it doesn't seem that they care much. And on the other hand, the Israelis are imposing new realities on the ground inside the Gaza Strip. Since they have relaunched the war, they have occupied large parts of the Gaza Strip. They are establishing axes, the so-called Mirage axes, the Mithrasim axis, the already existing Netzarim axis, the Isufim axis, to basically bisect the Gaza Strip and turn it into little cantons that cannot interact with one another and reduce the size of the strip and prevent the mobility of the population at large in over half of the strip, basically. So this leaves Hamas in no position to impose conditions. If there is a deal on the table which might lead to a permanent cessation of hostilities at the end of the day, then it needs to be taken. And if serious concessions need to be made by any side, they need to be made in order to alleviate the suffering of the innocent civilians and the innocent Palestinians in Gaza, and also to prevent further Israeli escalation inside the Gaza Strip, which could lead to the forced displacement and the ethnic cleansing of the people of Palestine or the people of Gaza. The Israelis not being able to displace them into Egypt does not mean that they will not be able to deport them into other countries. And they are overtly and publicly working on doing that right now. So we are in a race against time. And I think Hamas needs to be much more realistic. I know what I'm saying is not popular and would not be to the liking of many people. However, I find that common sense dictates that I deliver this very sound, in my opinion, sound assessment.
Mr. Mana, there's a growing movement within Israel, including the detainees' families, demanding a ceasefire and their return. Now, how is Netanyahu navigating this public pressure while maintaining a hardline stance to appeal to his far-right allies?
I think such demonstrations since the war has begun around 1 year and a half virtually, therefore such demonstrations as this that has no unified leadership nor one score, I think it still are weak, that every time is trying to minimize the tense demonstrations and everyone sending statement into the Israeli media that there is some sort of a breakthrough or a real tangible progress in the issue of captives, and sometimes sending delegations militarily and politically to speak with the families of those detainees talking about a breakthrough or an approaching agreement that would lead to the release of their sons and relatives. In addition, the Israeli media is trying to promote the official account, indicating that the Palestinian part is responsible of failing the negotiation. The reluctance made by Netanyahu to avoid this pressure, but if there is a real position of unified course and program and all the sectors of the civil society in Israel to pressure the Israeli government to cease the fire or to move forward in the swap, that will be have an effect. But in that way, they will be having no result. So Netanyahu is overseeing such a pressure. In previous, the military establishment had a way either in war in Lebanon or in Intifada in Al-Aqsa or even the war of 2006 or are indicators that the Israeli establishment was able to dedicate the government, but the political level is overwhelming the military scene.
Mm.
And even their deeds goes in the same line with the Israeli statements. So the thing now is different from the past, and position is very weakened. And what's in the top of the scene is the far right wing of the Israeli government. Part to that wants to complete the war and the more control of the Gaza Strip, as there is in the displacement project goes in line with the Zionist ideology. So that would lead that all the beneficiaries of the continuing the war are greater.